Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Oh boy, yes, Z being called to the office. Shout out to Trail, right? I shout out to Trail. I heard it. I heard it. Z being called to the office by Principal BGS to come and give some counseling to Miss Real Talk with Yanni. Right? I heard it. I heard it. Right? Yeah, right. Shout out to Real Talk with Yanni. Oh boy. Oh God, Yanni, you're in the principal's office again. Yeah, because some counseling again. Okay, all right, all right. Sign the paperwork, Z. Sign the MFN paperwork. Shout out to Edward Anderson, the disciplinarian of this school of misfits and bad behavior. Right? Okay, all right, all right, all right. If y'all click the links in the description, you will see a Miss Khalees. I hate you so much right now. I put that over the past maybe 15 or 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. You will see the link to the clip from Real Talk with Yanni. You will see BGS's coverage of Soraya Brooks speaking and also clipping out Real Talk with Yanni as one of her detractors. Real Talk with Yanni saying she doesn't give a damn about what Soraya Brooks had to say. And we're going to go over it. Once again, this is a reckless streams. Don't put it in the comments. Don't put it in the comments. So let's see how far we get to go. I'm not going to try to make this too lengthy. But y'all already know this is liable to end at any minute. So y'all already know. Reckless streams, reckless streams. Don't put it in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the super chat. And okay. So, let's start off with this. So as we thought, it's the women who see average as an insult. Around the 11-minute and 25-second mark, one of Yanni's subscribers mentions that Soraya says average Black American male or something along the lines, as if it's a pejorative or an insult, right? As if it's a pejorative or an insult. When we say an average looking Black woman, we understand we can still love on her. We can love her. We can still love her. We could still find her attractive. We still gonna, handle business when business needs to be handled. Giggity, right? And raise a family and stay married to her for decades. Black men understand that. Black men understand that saying average isn't an insult. That doesn't mean that she doesn't warrant being loved on and being loved and being treated well. Black women, on the other hand, that word average. That word average. Shout out to Real Talk with Yanni. Shout out to her, whoever said that in the comments, and all the other Black women who feel like this. No wonder they responded to Kevin speaking to Miss Average at best. No wonder they responded and reacted to Kevin Samuels speaking to Miss Average at best the way they did. Because they see average as an insult. Huh? Meanwhile, you see Black men calling themselves average all day, every day. Average looking, average height, average income, and believe it or not, oftentimes these men are actually a little bit above average height, earn a little bit more than average income, and get better than average results in life. But don't see being called average or calling themselves average as an insult. Black women, on the other hand, because when they hear average, what they hear is, I'm not worthy of the most opulent, most extravagant lifestyle humanly possible. When you call me average, what you're saying is I don't deserve the uber rich man. I don't deserve to be on private jets. I don't deserve to be in mansions, on golf courses. Huh? I don't deserve trips that's $10 and $15 and $20,000. Huh? When they hear average, as Trell is saying, average is the ultimate insult. Right? That's what they hear. You're regulating them to a lifetime of, wait a minute, what did Ebony K. Williams say? Mediocrity. You're calling me average. That means you don't think I'm deserving of the rich man. And of course, Yanni would agree with whoever that was in her comments because Yanni was the one to say it with me now. I want to be a kept woman of leisure. And what's the incentive? Translation: what's the incentive of being with any man right now? I'm earning this good YouTube money. If he's not buying me, then what's the point? Oh, say it again, Z. Say it slow. Because remember, Yanni was the one that said she wants a man of few words. So let's say that better. If he's not protecting, providing, and shutting up, then what's the point? What's the incentive? Ain't that right, Yanni? Huh? Let them talk. I keep on saying the internet will expose us all. I keep on saying, right? This is why Mr. Z says the things he says. Because women see average as a pejorative and an insult, while many of them are literally below average. Most financially black women are below average, but they see average as an insult. So what does that mean? How do you see yourself when you look in the mirror and you look at your paycheck? Uh-oh. But y'all subscribe to Yanni though. Alrighty then. Right? So what Yanni calls what Soraya Brooks is speaking about, and once again, this does not mean necessarily defending Soraya Brooks. That is not what we're engaging in. We are doing our job because we were called by the principal to counsel Yanni. Right? Shout out to Edward Anderson. Shout out to BGS. Right? Yanni calls what Soraya Brooks is engaging in surrogate mothering. Right? Surrogate mothering. Once again, an insult, a pejorative. Right? Huh. Yanni went through the comments from black women, right, being sassy and giving their I'm not bothered responses to Soraya Brooks, which anyone with a black mother, sister, aunts, grandmother, girl cousins, right, knows it actually means they're extremely bothered. When they act like they're not bothered, when they do the Omarion not bothered thing, oh, they're livid. They're livid, right? Yanni is saying black women are not being triggered and are not reacting, while it's exactly the opposite, right? They're reacting and responding under the guise of not being bothered, just like you're doing here, Yanni, right? Just like you're doing here. Yanni was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of us. We're not being bothered. We're not." Yanni, okay, let's stop right here. Real talk with Yanni, I get it. For you and for Chrissy and for Bowser, right? And for Cynthia G and a number of you, Themis and Thaw, a number of you, black straight men are nothing but, and this is really racist, by the way. This is extremely, extremely misandrous and racist. Black men, and this is the inner white woman in y'all, the wannabe white woman in y'all. Black men are nothing but, mouth breathing idiots with big slongs and maybe good sex. Black men are nothing but walking ATM machines, walking pit bulls who serve no purpose in life but to kiss black women's ass and do black women's bidding. I get it. So you think that you can say, oh, we're not bothered to black men. The black men with black mothers, black sisters, black aunts, black grandmothers, black girl cousins, black wives, black baby mamas. You think, Yanni, you realize we're not white, right? You realize we're not Latino or Asian, right? You realize we're black, raised by black women, and you're telling us how unbothered y'all are as if we don't know you. Huh? But of course, because you think we're stupid. Huh? I'm so glad we're so unbothered. That's why we're in her comment section. being sassy and snarky with our one-liner responses because we're so unbothered. We're so unbothered that we took time to type out, Z, are you bothered? Yes, that's why Z is making a video. Well, one of the reasons. Mr. Z can admit that. Yanni and other black women, on the other hand, and this is a conversation Mr. Z even had to have with his own mom. For all of you that think Mr. Z is just doing this on the internet, no, Mr. Z had to have this conversation with his own mom. Don't tell me how unbothered you are when we just spent an hour talking about this. You're venting right now. It's okay to vent, but don't tell me you're not bothered. For all of you that think Mr. Z is just doing this on some internet stuff, absolutely not. So, real talk with Yanni, yes, you can go out. Once again, black women and all of their hubris and arrogance, talking to black men like we're stupid because they think we're stupid. Huh? And y'all gives you 1 second. And we're back. But yeah, so, this I'm not bothered thing, okay, whatever. Continuing. Yanni says Soraya Brooks is looking for validation and black women didn't give it to her. Yes, y'all did. Y'all commented. Y'all made videos about it. Yanni, you made that. This is a video you just made about it. And what do you mean by validation? Rewind. Actually, what do you mean by validation? Huh? Yanni, this is a whole, what, 12 or 13 some odd minute long video. Yeah, I think you clipped it from a live you did on Patreon. Cool. But you posted it. Okay, fine. You didn't give Soraya Brooks the validation, but you gave other black women the validation to feel bothered and pretend like they don't. That a non-black woman is speaking up on black men and how black women may mistreat black men, do mistreat black men, and how black women may mishandle black men, do mishandle black men. Huh? I'm not for championing non-black women speaking like this to black women. But you're engaging, Yanni, pretending like you're not engaging. Look at your face when you said, I don't give a damn what she talking about. I don't give a damn. Look at your face, Yanni. That does not look like a face that's not bothered. Huh? I've said it before. Real talk with Yanni. Black women, it would be wise for black women to be very, very careful over the next couple decades when it comes to their relationship with black men. Why? Because black men can marry out and date out and be passport bros in a way that black women cannot. It's that simple. It's not fair, the patriarchy and the beauty standard and European beauty standard. And if you understand that, then maybe you should take care of black men. But black women's hubris, their arrogance, and their sexism towards black men, their gynocratic programming dictates that they really don't know how to do that. And so deal with the consequences. I am not going to champion Soraya Brooks or any non-black woman who engages in this conversation and goes back and forth with black women. What I will say is black women have made it far too easy for these women to feel comfortable engaging in this. It's not black men. Huh? Yanni, you forgot when the passport bros went overseas and black women were pretending like you are now, like they're not bothered, and they summarily insulted the non-black women overseas, calling them dirty foot, insulting their intelligence and their education, calling them poor and destitute. You forgot that's why those women responded the way they did? It's not even about the passport bros. Even if the passport bros were talking crazy, the women didn't say anything overseas. The reason they started talking is because black women started insulting. Instead of black women doing what they always do, focusing on black men and insulting black men, no, they also insulted those women. And that's why those women started saying something back. You forgot? You forgot Real Talk with Yanni? That's where Soraya Brooks comes in. Oh, how easy it is to forget. Huh? How easily we forget. Y'all spoke of, not you in particular, maybe you, these women overseas that black men may end up with. Like they're a bunch of idiots. Who would ever end up with a black American man who goes overseas? Why would you end up with him unless you're the reject, and this is what you were alluding to, unless you're the reject of your own community and your own ethnicity and your own race? Why would you ever end up with a black American man? Because he's the best man on earth. Ooh, if you strip white men of their money, oh, if you strip them of that white status, would y'all really want to be with them like that, like that? Huh? Why would you ever be with a black American man? Huh? Instead of y'all really grappling with what Soraya Brooks is saying, y'all insult her. Y'all pretend like y'all are not bothered, which is the perfect show that you are bothered. Dear black women, I get it. I understand. Y'all think black men are mouth breathing idiots, big dumb jocks, for the ones that actually have some physique, and for the ones that don't, just big dummies. I get it. And so you think walking around like you're not bothered means that what, black men actually believe you? Wait a minute, black women. Who do you think actually believes that? Especially if you focused on this for about 12 to 13 minutes on your channel, and you made comments in comment sections about it, and you put out videos about it. Who believes that you're not bothered when you respond the way you do? A bunch of fake ass Omarions walking around here. Huh? Real Talk with Yanni continues by saying, do you feel the power when you don't give people the reaction they want? Yanni, this is predictable. This was not extraordinary. This was not unique. This was not new. This was predictable. The power. There's a whole lot to say about Chrissy, Yanni, Bowser, Paris Malone, like this idea of power. This is some weird white manning of black women. This is some weird stuff y'all getting into with this power talk. Huh? Maybe it's this obsession with power, which is much of the reason why you're single, Yanni. This obsession with power. I want to be a kept woman of leisure from a man of few words. Okay, yeah, that's it. Huh? Some weird obsession with power here. When Yanni says that takes away from me, in other words, looking out for a man, taking care of a man, I'm going to get to that in a minute, takes away from her. Yanni says it takes away from her. BGS caught it when Yanni said it. Yes, Yanni, you think like that, and a lot of black women think like that. That's why y'all are single as a loose leaf piece of paper. It's not that y'all are too loyal to black men and black men are wayward. No, the reason why many black women don't end up with any man, not even another woman, is exactly what you just said. Selfishness. Not just self-centered. Selfishness. It takes away from me. Huh? Your words, Yanni, it takes away from me. Oh yeah, yes I did, Trell. It's hysterical. And Trell says, Z, did you check out the Bowser link? Yes, I did. It's hysterical. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Right? So I'm glad BGS caught that. What else needs to be said? You said it. It takes away from me. I want to be. Remember, Yanni, you're the woman. I want to be a kept woman of leisure. What's the incentive? Decenter men. That's you. You're the one who mocked MLK and other black civil rights leaders for doing what they did for white vagina. That was you. Now you're saying working with a man, doing for a man, bringing a man a plate, bringing a man a drink, it takes away from you because these men are clearly over traumatized. We're going to get to that in a minute. They're traumatized. And you working with that man takes away from you. What else needs to be said? This is why we call it the gynocracy. It's not a matriarchy. This is why we call it a gynocracy. Because at least matriarchs understand, yeah, it's going to be skewed in my favor, but I got to do something for this man. Yanni does not believe in that, nor do other gynocrats. Huh? Yeah. It takes away from me. We heard you, right? What else needs to be said? When Yanni says, let's check out the German men. So she's kind of mocking Soraya Brooks by saying, well, why aren't you with one of the German men? And you know what she's alluding to. Soraya Brooks couldn't get her a German man, so she ended up with a brother, a black American brother, right? That's what Yanni's alluding to. And she's telling black women, let's check out the German men. You mean the country that had the Nazis? German? That country. You mean the one that a few of them are starting to flirt with more and more, going back in that direction? Uh-oh, if y'all been paying attention. You mean those German men? You mean those German men? You mean the German men that got mad at Angela Merkel for all of the immigrants coming into the country? You mean those German men, and the vast majority of those immigrants were not black. You mean those German men? Yanni, Yanni, are you see? This is what happened when you just snap you in with the quick one-liners, and that's all you focus on. Yanni, do you understand what country you talking about? Germany? The Germans? You mean the ones that was throwing people in ovens in mass graves? That Germany? You mean that Germany? The small mustache man, Germany? You mean that Germany? Huh? You mean the country in the middle of Europe, Germany? You mean that Germany? Huh. Yeah. Black women ending up with white German men. These are the black women that like men with rhythm. Oh boy. Okay. Black women who want to freestyle, but you want to be with the probably the most structured group of Europeans on the planet. You know that's kind of the joke about Germany, is like how structured they are. Like insanely maniacally structured and regimented they are. You think the free spirit ass do what I want to do as black women are supposed to end up with a second late off with your head type of Germans? Yeah, that's it. The chronically fashionably late black women are supposed to end up with German men now? Or were you just saying that as a response to Soraya Brooks? If we're gonna play with stereotypes, let's go all the way. Black women, Queen Earth Mother Goddess, are supposed to end up with patriarchal German men? Huh? Wow. Alrighty then. Trail says they introduced the Prussian school system after all. Els Active says, I hear German men are avid supporters of 50-50. Well, talk about being a kept woman of leisure. That's out the window. Mr. Donnie Max says, get used to clapping on 1 and 3. Hysterical. Huh. And I'm almost certain that Yanni was just throwing that out there just to as some weirdo response. But even with that, like, are you sure about that? German? Huh. Right. So what most German men will do with black women is maybe SA them. It's not smart. Real talk with Yanni. This is this once again just throwing out one-liners because it's funny. Now let's get into the family unit. Oh boy. So Soraya Brooks brought up the family unit, excuse me. G Unit brought up the family unit, and so real talk with Yanni goes into that, right? She speaks on the family unit and how she was raised, right? Yanni says she grew up in a nuclear family in a family unit that wasn't broken, right? Yanni's a military brat. And yet here you are on your channel speaking about decentering men, mocking civil rights leaders, black male civil rights leaders, right? Talking about what's the incentive? What's the incentive? Wanted to be a kept woman of leisure, right? What was the point of the family unit if in one generation you, as your parents' daughter, and from what I'm understanding, your parents' only daughter, you gave a middle finger to the family unit? Because the men you have access to may not be rich and wealthy, and the ones that aren't checking for you for marriage. What was the point of your parents raising you in that family unit when you speak about decentering men? When you say to Soraya Brooks, you ain't doing all of that. Huh? What was the point? Your parents raised you in a structure. You were raised in the church, born in church. Your words. You were baptized at 5. You were in the church 3-4 times a week. These are your words, Yanni, or at least the sentiment you expressed. What was the point of all of it when you then turn around and give the middle finger to the family structure? Yanni, you are the one that's speaking about decentering men. So you can't respond back to Soraya Brooks by saying, you know what, I came up in this. Yeah, you did, and you gave it the middle finger. Yep. Once again, the queering of the black community and black relationships because of black women like Yanni. So no, Yanni, it's not necessarily the queering of your sexuality, although black women by at least a third. Oopsie. No, it's not about your sexuality, Yanni. It's about the dynamic that women like you, black women like you, would like to bring about. You know, black men providing, protecting, and shutting up. Your words. Remember, you're the one who said you like men a few words, but you want to be a kept woman of leisure by these men. Uh-oh. How does the math? That's why Mr. Z says protect, provide, and shut up. Y'all are not really taking stock of the words that you're using, what you're saying, and the message it's conveying. So, Yanni, when I say protect, provide, and shut up, you may see it as hyperbolic. That's not what I'm saying. That is what you're saying. That's not the words you're using. Right? No, Better You, not from my understanding. And Better You says Yanni's same-sex loving. No, not from what I understand. Right? Huh? Yanni, you don't want structure led by a man, and you've expressed that multiple times on your channel. Especially not a man that's not at least upper middle class, nicely upper middle class and above. You've expressed this on your channel. So when Soraya Brooks says what she says, I get it. This is your response. Your knee-jerk reaction, your knee-jerk response is to speak as if, no, I came up in a family structure, in a nuclear family. Understandable. Good. Understandable. But look at how you've taken that. Look at how you are behaving now. Look at your channel. You're the one speaking about decentering men. That's you, Real Talk with Yanni, right? That's you, right? Brooks, excuse me, supposedly has been married for what, at least a decade and a half, something along those lines, 15 or so years, if I'm not mistaken. So to Yanni, I say, what do you mean that she's gonna find out? Women like her, these non-black women, are gonna find out, right? And y'all give Z 1 second, y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. So as I was saying, real talk when Yanni says they're gonna find out, they're gonna figure it out, or they're gonna find out. She says they're going to find out. Yeah, Soraya Brooks is married though for over a decade, from my understanding, right? So what is she gonna find out that she hasn't found out already? You also say she's gonna be in this relationship lonely. 15 years lonely? 15 years and counting lonely? Why? Because her worldview, in her view about relationships and men, and including at least her black husband, is different than yours. She doesn't come off as a gynocrat, let alone she doesn't come off as a matriarch, let alone a gynocrat, right? So she's gonna find out and she's gonna be in her relationship, her marriage lonely. I want to focus on this for a little bit. Real talk with Yanni says that this is exhausting. And let's sit with that for a little while. This is exhausting, right? Or it's exhausting, better yet. It's exhausting, real talk with Yanni says. Oh boy, exactly. Doing anything for black men, right? Anything for the express pleasure of a black man is exhausting. Yanni could never. She could never imagine it. This is gynocratic speak right here. This is why we say gynocrats. This is gynocratic speak. It's exhausting. It's exhausting, she says. Dear black men, so now you understand the decenter men thing. Now you get it. Huh? Instead of y'all actually not being bothered and not responding, or responding in somewhat of a more tactful way, strategic way, oh no. It's the sassy, we're not bothered lines, which, by the way, indicate that you're bothered. And Yanni say it's exhausting. And telling you straight out, doing what Soraya Brooks says takes away from her. Oh yeah, there we go. She calls it surrogate mother. Of course. She calls this man, she's calling Soraya Brooks' husband, traumatized. And he's putting all of that trauma on Soraya Brooks, a woman who's been married, from my understanding, some 15 years or some odd. Right? Oh boy. Right? So Yanni goes on to say, they are literally taking so much off of our hands. Yeah, real talk with Yanni, like stability and a path to middle class and above. You're right. Women like Soraya Brooks are taking so much off of black women's hands, like stability and a path to the middle class and above. And the St. Louis Federal Reserve says single Latina and single black women have the least amount of wealth in America. How's that for decentering black men? Decentering men, real talk with Yanni. How's that for it? You can, Yanni, you can. The vast majority of black women cannot. And that's just based off the finances. right? You're the one, real talk with Yanni, that says ready to take care of you. That sounds crazy. You said that's when she lost you. So when Soraya Brooks says to black men, "Dear black men, get your essentially get your passports, go traveling. There are women that are willing to take care of you." And that's when Yanni says she lost. That's when Soraya Brooks really lost her. Ready to take care of you. That's crazy. Real talk with Yanni. This is gynocratic speak right here. This is the difference between you and your mother. Real talk with Yanni. There you go. You could keep on talking about the nuclear family and how you were raised in a structured family, but look at how you responded to it. You're saying, ready to take care of you. That's crazy. That sounds crazy to you, right? That's when Soraya Brooks lost you. That's when she lost you. What else do you need to know? Real talk with Yanni. This is why you're single. This is why your homeboy wouldn't hit it. He could tell you whatever he wants to, whatever. He don't want to destroy the friendship. Okay. Real talk with Yanni. With in the income bracket you're in now, them brothers ain't just trying to have, well, they are trying to have fun. But when it comes to family formation, oh, brothers ain't trying to end up with no headstrong, hard-headed black woman. Not at that income bracket and above. Absolutely not. Especially over the age of 30, you're not even going to catch the dumb dude slipping, the naive men slipping. That's not even going to be your trajectory or your path. You didn't age out of that. The horny dudes with a couple of dollars that's willing to throw it at you, you done missed that train. So thank you, Real Talk with Yanni, for saying what you really truly believe out loud and sharing a sentiment that a lot of black women believe. Right? Ready to take care of you. That sounds crazy. Your words, right? And Els Active says, and thank you for the super chat, why would the founders of the 4B movement, as Yanni claims, get pressed and asked where the German men at? Isn't Miss Germany assisting their struggle? Hysterical. Right? Oh man. And thank you for the super chat, Els Active, and thank you for the super chat. Right? Why would they be asking? Because black women are on some wishy-washy stuff. They want the patriarchy. Once again, patriarchy by feminist specifications. That's where Yanni comes in. That's why she's talking about decentering men, wanting to be a kept woman of leisure. What's the incentive? While saying she wants a man of few words. And say, all these men yapping, yap, 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 like Mr. Z. Mr. Z be yap, yap, yapping. She wants a man of few words that spends the money and that doesn't really talk much. Patriarchy by feminist specifications. You have a patriarchal obligation that you understand to provide, protect, but you just don't exercise any of that, and you don't assert, shout out to Sarge Willie Pete, any of that power. Right? Huh. They're literally taking so much off of our hands. Yes, real talk with Yanni, like the stability. Y'all are so behind the 8 ball in the conversation about black men and black women. The same old tropes, the same responses to black men, to non-black women, the same old stuff for decades. And black women on average are starving. They're struggling. Right? They are starving. They are struggling. And yet real talk with Yanni just doesn't understand or doesn't appreciate this. And so, well, and Els Active says again, and thank you for the super chat, Yanni claims that, and I got to read this one now. Yanni claims that that the husband convinced her, Sarai Brooks, that black women don't feed their men timely meals, right? As their Jermaine principle dictates, it's always Jermaine's fault. Of course. But it doesn't. I get what you're saying, Els. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because look at Real Talk with Yanni's face when she says, um, um, essentially, ain't nobody got time for that. That's essentially what she was saying. But I'm not gonna do all that. I'm not gonna pour into him. And where's that comment? Give me 1 second. As Mr. Shook to you says, BGS is right. Black women only want to be poured into. Right? Look at Real Talk. Look at these women's facial expressions. Look at how animated they get. I am Monique J. When I covered the women in Florida the other day, look at Real Talk with Yanni's facial expression. Y'all can't see Chrissy, but you can feel her facial expression through your phone or through your laptop or whatever you're listening to this on, right? Your computer. You know what type of faces she's making. Look at Paris Milan when she speaks on black men, when she actually shows her face, right? Yanni saying she's not bothered. Other black women aren't bothered, but yet they're making comments about it. That's good for you, girl. Like all of these weirdo, lame one-liners for a bunch of people that are quote unquote not bothered, unbothered, huh? And Ghost-O-Matic says, and I agree with this. Els Active, the Jermaine principle, right? We gotta coin that term exactly, right? Hmm. TF indifferent, exactly. Black women. Black women are saying, pay my bills, buy me stuff, work yourself to death. Black men are saying, can you get me some water? Black women, God, you're so exhausting. You're exhausting. Exactly. Exactly. Meanwhile, we already 62%. Yanni, real talk with Yanni. 62% of black women are single. Do you think that might have anything to do with and correlated to single black and Latina women have the least amount of wealth in America? Black women have among, if not, I think it's the least, the lowest marriage rate, the lowest interracial marriage rate. Y'all keep on saying this because y'all are too loyal to black men. Okay, whatever. In America, yeah, that's it. So the highest rate of child out of wedlock in America, right? The lowest marriage rate, the lowest interracial marriage rate, the highest single rate, and you talk about how exhausting this, what Soraya Brooks is saying. You're saying decenter men. You're saying what's the incentive? You're saying I will be a kept woman of leisure. Those are your words. Real talk with Yanni. These are your sentiments. These are the things you've expressed on your channel, unprovoked. Meanwhile, 62% of black women are single. Black women have the least amount of wealth in America. Yeah. Huh? And your response to Sarah Brooks is to speak about how you and other black women are so unbothered. And you're so proud of black women for being so unbothered while they're commenting about how unbothered they are. Huh? And Rocky says, and thank you, brother, thank you. Hey, finally caught alive. Thank you for dismantling FD Simplifier. Right? And then shout out to FD Signifier. The brother know what he's doing. He knows we're not lying. He knows we're not lying. Shout out to Edward Anderson. Edward Anderson bust him out. When Edward Anderson, if you haven't seen it or heard it before, you're gonna have to scroll a little while though. Bernard Raleigh had FD Signifier on months ago, maybe even a year ago at this point. And FD Signifier was on, and he got on, he got off, then he came back on. And when he came back on, I want to say the second time Edward Anderson was on, and Ed pretty much asked um FD Signifier, is the black community a patriarchy, a matriarchy? What would you describe it as? And FD Signifier essentially called it a matriarchy, and he said, that's the way it's going to default because of white supremacy and anti-blackness in America. I actually somewhat agree with him on what white folks would see as more beneficial to them is to put the power and the money in black women's hands. BGS speaks on this often. But FD didn't have any type of apprehension to that. There was no, we got to do something to, he didn't even give the illusion of speaking about egalitarianism. He didn't even do that. He just pretty much said, oh, well, that's the way it is. And, I'm not saying, and he did say this, I'm not saying I'm not for it, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And there was no maybe we should try to find something that's more equal. He didn't even do that, which you would expect from someone from the left. Nope. Well, this is the way it is, and black men are just going to have to work within the structure. And that's where you lose black men. Talking about where you lose someone, real talk with Yanni, and being lost when Soraya Brooks said, take care of a man. No, this is where you lose black men. Telling black men, well, it's a matriarchy and it's really a gynocracy, but fine. It's a matriarchy and you just going to have to deal with it how you deal with it. And shout out to Dr. Richard Reeves that speaks about the exit power of women. Yeah, because men want to marry a woman who at any moment can divorce you for any reason. Yeah, that's it. Exit power. Exit power, while women like Real Talk with Yanni are talking about decentering men. Huh? And what she's not going to do for a man. Yeah, that's it. Right? And Barry Hamilton says 62% single rate for black women. The more they complain, the single rate is likely to increase. It's not even complain, brother. It's not. I would push. Here's something to consider. It's not black women's complaining. That's what black women do for sport. That's what women do for sport. Not even just the black women thing. It's not even the complaining. It's black women's behavior. The complaining is just an add-on. It's black women's behavior. It's their inappropriate response to an anti-black society and environment. It's them looking longingly at white women like, damn, I wish I was her. I want her position so bad. Pun intended on that one, right? I wish I was under a white man. Pun intended on that one. That's what black women are saying. Let me make sure I say that before somebody try to clip that and make it some LGBTQ thing. That's what black women are saying. Not all for that one. Not all, and maybe not even most for the sexual element of it all. A sizable minority, though. But definitely the playing damsel in distress that upper middle class, but most white women, by and large, can engage in. The playing damsel in distress, right? The performance of upper middle class white women, rich white women, and elite white women. I would argue that is why black women act the way they do. It's a insane jealousy and resentment at white men, black men, white women, everyone in this society, that black women in their minds cannot perform white womanhood the way white women can. And so it's torch everything to the ground, burn everything to ashes, Captain Yamamoto off of Bleach, right? Because if I can't be a upper middle class, rich or elite white woman and be a pompous asshole with my nose in the air, then to hell with everything, including the person that's closest to me, black men. Huh? So that I would argue it's not just the complaining, it's the behavior. It's the behavior, right? And there's a lot of things I know a lot of brothers y'all might get annoyed when I continue to bring it back to jealousy of white women, right? And just uh if I can't get what she get, then why wouldn't I be a woman with tattoos on my face, on my neck? Why not? On my chest? Why not? Huh? Why not have this stink attitude? Why not have children out of wedlock? Why not walk around with a bonnet? Why not? What did what's her name? Bridget Kelly, that BGS covered a couple weeks ago. What did she say when she was at that restaurant table with the two brothers? We don't get what white women get for what they do. That's essentially her message. I've been telling y'all that's what they thought. I'm glad she said it. I might have to review it just to focus on that point. She said it outright. What's the point of it all? I'm not going to get what white women get, so what's the point? Huh? Black women aren't going to get what black women aren't going to get for behaving quote unquote the right way and being softer, nicer women, right? That don't mean that black women aren't going to be snarky sometimes. We're human beings and they're women. The underhanded comments are coming. The nagging, if you ain't around a nagging woman, I don't know if you're around a woman. The nagging shows up differently for different women, but the nagging is there, right? And thank you for that, Els. And Els Active says, we not annoyed Z. We appreciate the reminders. And I get it, and thank you for that, Els Active. But I bring it back to a the myth of white womanhood and the jealousy of white women. And as Bridget Kelly said, like she said it. She said it. What else y'all need to hear? She straight up said it. We don't get what white women get for white women acting a certain way, or non-black women acting a certain way. And in black women's minds, and remember, Bridget Kelly, if I'm not mistaken, she's mixed. She's mixed. If I'm not mistaken, right? And if I'm saying her name incorrectly, my apologies to the lady, right? But what did she say? We don't get what they get, so what's the point? They get something for their behavior and adhering to a certain archetype, and we don't. So, right? And there you go. And so this is where Soraya Brooks and a number of women, both in the US and out of the US, that rightfully say, hey, black men, we'll take care of you. We'll do right by you. Don't think that these other women, Soraya Brooks is a little different because, Turkish descent, white, right? A different type of white, but white, not wasp white, not European white. Although Turkey pretty much sits in like the middle of like the Middle East in air quotes Europe. Like if there's a country that says Eurasian, it's definitely Turkey, right? If there's a Eurasian country, it's definitely Turkey. It literally sits in the middle of Europe, the way people think of white Europeans, and the Middle East when you think of quote unquote Arabs, right? Or quote unquote Middle Easterners, right? But that's where Soraya Brooks comes in. And I'm not saying these other women aren't jealous of white women also. These non-black women, non-white women, they're jealous of white women also. They just go about it differently. And it's not this extremely visceral feeling half the times, especially an Americanized version of it. It's not the Mindy Kaling. It's not the Chrissy, right? It's not the Amanda Marianne. It's not the Madison Brown. No matter how they intellectualize it, it's not the, well, what's the point? If I can't live the white woman life or at least have the white husband, what's the point? Right? And St. Cyr says the majority of Turkey is in Asia. That little area where Istanbul is Europe, but big landmass Turkey is in Asia. So it's like Russia in that way, where Moscow is technically in Europe, but the vast majority of Russia is in Asia, right? So I think what St. Petersburg is in Europe, Moscow is in Europe, and like everything else, all the frozen tundra, all of that, all the places for the most part they digging the oil out of, that's Asia, right? Huh. And but man, I couldn't agree with this more. I'm gonna read this one now. All right. And Lion says, as a man, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Lion says, as a man out here, trust black women issues in dating is self-sabotage under the illusion of empowerment. Bro, that empowerment language and whatever little sense of empowerment they get, and this speaks to a larger feeling of powerlessness that black women feel because, oh, Z, you about to say it again, because they're not white women and because they're not white men, that part too. So these little childlike things they engage in and say and do and blowing smoke up each other ass and encouraging each other off the cliff the wrong way is, as Lion is saying, is them self-sabotaging for this little quick fast food feeling of empowerment. Emphasis on the word feeling there, right? And Lion says, you doing a panel tomorrow or Sunday? I should be in the Lone Star State this weekend. On fortunately and unfortunately. Unfortunately, and no, I don't think I might have time. Let's see. Maybe I might have time to do a panel discussion Sunday, but it definitely won't be in Florida, right? So yeah, we'll see. We'll see, but most likely not. But stay tuned. I'll try to give enough of a warning if I am, so that people, Lion, you'll know, right? All right. And let me read this one now. And KMS says, I live in Houston. Trust me, Yanni lives in a dude desert of her own making. The type of dudes she wants are spoiled for choice. The type of dudes who'd cape she'd crush. And negotiating is beneath her. So, oh suffer. Oh suffer. Look, and that's sad. But Yanni is not a ugly woman. I like her lips. Yanni is not an ugly woman, right? But that attitude, that decenter men, that there is there. Yanni, you want to talk about red flags? You want to talk about red flags for men, right? Way too much leaning on the zodiac signs. This is not BGS, reading your, whatever, right? Mr. Z is not really good on this thing, so no, just way too much leaning on the zodiac signs. It's just red flags all over the place. Decenter men. What's the incentive? Mocking black male civil rights leaders. That's half the reason why you can be on YouTube talking your crap, about black men that look just like those black male civil rights leaders. Right? Freshest in class. This is funny. And freshest in class says Cruella DeVille wasn't ugly either. Well, ugly neither. Yep. And Mr. Shook to you says, Z, you are the guy that said the only way to get black women in order is that white men to get white women in check. Yeah, because white men and white women act as a foil to black men doing what they need to do. Shout out to our other very illustrious boomer, Black Uru. We would have been had this thing sewn up if black women couldn't elicit the power of the state, if black women couldn't run to white corporate state, and by the way, neither one of these entities actually give a damn about black people writ large or black women, but to sabotage the black community and continue to foster internal turmoil, oh yeah, they'll definitely put their thumb on the scales, as they've done. Huh? So let me add an addendum to that. White men have to get white women in line while also not sabotaging black men. And that's the hard part because they're so tempted to do it. Huh? Y'all see JD Vance? Oh yeah. Oh wait. Y'all check out the link in my on my community tab that I posted maybe an hour or two ago. So y'all check that out. And I'll give you 1 second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. Reckless streams. Right, and we're back. And we're back. Oh yeah, so going back to what I was saying. Um in a link in my community tab is the kind of thinker of and the like the person that kind of is pushing this idea of and JD Vance is kind of playing around with this post-liberal democracy, if I'm not mistaken. No, post-liberal conservatism, which pretty much is post-liberal democracy, but post-liberal conservatism. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. I'm tying that into the conversation right now with and when I say in a minute, I mean like I might do a whole separate stream about that. Um Tying that to kind of where white men find themselves right now, right? So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. And I think this is not a good time for black women to be behaving the way they are, right? and I'm tying that to what I was saying about white men getting white women in line while also keeping the thumb on the scales for black women to continue the kind of dynamic we have going on in the black community, right? So yeah, and Mr. Donnie Mack says, and thank you for the super chat. Um, Bridget Kelly is a biracial woman who despises seeing interracial relationships that mirror her own parents, black men, white women. Her mom is a white woman. Yeah, I remember the discussion she had with the other two biracial women. One of them is what's her name? The one that's all over the place. I can't remember her name, but with the shorter haircut. And yeah, it was three biracial women who, if I'm not mistaken, were all the products of black father, white mother, who were all saying white men essentially know how to love on them better than black men. And they despise seeing black man, white woman relationships, but they do see, and I'm paraphrasing, and I might even be adding a little extra, but they do see black woman, white man relationships as somewhat empowering. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that, Mr. Donnie Mac. I remember. Right? Oh boy. Right? Yeah. Right? So yeah. You imagine, and then this goes back to Bowser, that it looks like once a year is going to remind us black men marrying out and black women marrying out is not the same thing. They're just straight up saying it. Look, black women marrying out to white men, particularly white men of means and status, is edifying. Black men marrying out to white women, even of means and status, shout out to Steve Urkel, is meh. Right? It's meh. It's whatever. It's whatever. But black women with successful, rich, powerful white men, oh boy. Ain't that what Bell Hooks told us? Women take on the status of their men. And so a black woman with a white man of means, a white man with some status, is empowering, right? Man. No, I was in B Simone. Right. Where's it? And Harry, I said Harry. Barry Hamilton says, was it B Simone you're alluding to? No, no, it wasn't B Simone. I forgot her name. Her face is right there too. She's another lighter skinned biracial woman. She used to have the show. Didn't she have a show with Bridget Kelly? I forgot her name. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? The one that was on Horrible Decisions, if I'm not mistaken, right? She actually has a clip where she was speaking about how the money gets split when you have a podcast and when you have like these type of radio show type of joints. What is her name? Y'all, somebody know who I'm talking about. But she's mixed too, right? So yeah, and KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. I'll be direct. Yanni is a good-looking chick. She is, however, mad common to the men she wants. True. Well, I would say true. Based off of what I see down here in South Florida, those men can smash for free 99% or flat out buy her for the night and keep it moving. She's cooked. Yeah. Right. Mandy. Yes, Mandy. Mandy. That's who I'm talking about. Mandy. And yes, Mr. Donnie Mac, and yes, Dylan James. Thank you. Right? Not L'Oreal, not L'Oreal, right? Mandy. Mandy B. Yes, Saint Cyr. Thank you. Mandy. That's who I was talking about. Let me make sure we talking about the same person. Give me a second. We're gonna make sure right now. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Thank y'all. Thank you. Right? Oh, I didn't know they were beefing. Bridget Kelly and Mandy beef? Well, that's 4 months old. Just because I looked it up, now I know. Okay, whatever. Right, but going to what KMS is saying, Her attitude, bro. And she over 30. And she was the one, and that may not be the end of the world per se, but she was the one who was kind of making fun of it. Oh, I didn't hit the wall, y'all. I'm over 30. Partially true, really true, but definitely with that attitude. And that doesn't mean that Yanni can't catch some brother slipping. The likeliness, though, and KMS is in Houston. He telling us, yeah, Z, nope. Yeah, Z, nah. The likeliness, nope. Right. So yeah, like I said, we're not gonna make this too long. And Mr. Z, Reckless Streams has things to do. Reckless Streams, so we'll go into it. And KMS is, it's an impossible task. White men can't put a boot to white women's ass without crushing black women. True. White women will not allow it. Keys Keys is gonna have to feel it too. Keys is gonna have to feel it too. Black women are in trouble. Yeah. No, I do think they're in trouble. They put themselves in a excuse me, say it better, Z. They put themselves in a unenviable position. There we go. Right? They rise and fall off of how well white women are doing. And the masses of white women rise and fall off of whether the state thinks they should be included or not. And if y'all let JD Vance and those type of white dudes, if you let them move how they want to move, it's about to look real ugly. Right? The Curtis Yarvins and the wait a minute. Oh, it's about to look real bad. So the black woman, I say, hey, dear real time. Okay, put it this way. We're the ones having the political discussions here. And on that note, let me pause right here. And Mr. Z got it. Apparently, this warning thing is gay. I'm gonna have to do this like every damn stream. We're in political season. I really don't want to go to war with none of the brothers. I really don't. But y'all making it real hard. Y'all making it really hard. Y'all making it supremely difficult. So let me first preface my statement by saying I was not going to vote for any one of the geriatrics. Now, and Mr. Z is telling y'all, I'm going to probably write in Cornel West's name. I'm going to just say it straight out. With that, to the more conservative brothers in particular, I'm saying this. To the Republican brothers, I'm saying this. Y'all are engaging in some very weirdo stuff when y'all keep on doing y'all mama raised ass men. Y'all gonna support the Democrats? Y'all gonna support the Democrats? You gonna follow your mama? You gonna follow your baby mama? This is some really weird. And then y'all go into insulting men. I thought we were trying to get away from that. So the black women do it. Poo on them. But it's okay for y'all to engage in that because brothers might vote differently than what you think they should vote. So you insult their manhood. I thought we were trying to get away from that. Right? Huh. This is some weird. And yeah, Mr. Z watched something last night, and a brother went into that, and bro, the vast majority of black people still gonna vote Democrat. I would argue a larger percentage of black men and even black women may vote Republican this election, but the majority of black people are still going to vote Democrat. That includes black men. So what are you saying about those brothers? Right? It's not smart to be engaging in this. It's not smart. This insulting black men's masculinity and manhood because you think what you found this sounds borderline LGBTQ. What you found the fountain of youth in the middle of Trump's legs? You found the fountain of masculinity and manhood over there with the white dudes? Sounding a bit homoerotic there. What, we supposed to be rubbing elbows with the white dudes over there? What, and rubbing something else? All right, right. So I'm just saying, like, as I said, Mr. Z does not see himself voting for Trump or Kamala Harris. But this insulting black men's masculinity and manhood, and calling them mama raised and mama led, and you're gonna be over there hiding behind the black women's skirts and all this weirdo stuff. I thought the point of the Black Manosphere or any black male content was about black men's true liberation, and for black men, an individual black man, to move how they need to move. That's beneficial for them. And yes, we're supposed to move as a collective sometimes. I hear people talking policies. What policies directly benefit the masses of black men that Trump is proposing? If we're gonna go into, and I'm gonna have to do a whole panel discussion for that. And any brothers welcome from the left to the right. Once you start getting the policies, don't tell me about some policy that's gonna affect a 5% of brothers that got it together like that, and they some business owners or something. Nope, nope, nope. What policies is Trump forwarding that's gonna benefit the masses of black men or black boys, or both? And if not, then what makes him any different than Kamala or Biden? I really don't want to get into this election. Every time I leave, they drag me back. Right? This is weird. I don't even care who y'all vote for. But the insulting black men and black masculinity thing, I don't know. Right? Yeah, and I seen, I seen O'Shea say that, he's supporting the Republicans. I don't even have nothing to say about that because he didn't insult black men in the process. He didn't insult the brothers that might vote differently in the process. That's why there's no point in saying anything disparaging about O'Shea. He said, "Hey, I'm going with the Republicans for this one." And y'all give Z 1 second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to, and we're back. I just wanted to kind of make that disclaimer. Brothers, I get it. Some of y'all are frustrated the way black women and the Democrats and definitely black women like a Tiffany Cross or a Simone Sanders or name them have been, moving about and speaking on or to black men the very paternalistic, disparaging way. I get it. I get it. Right. But with that, the idea that we're just going to insult black men into moving the way we tell them to move, does that make you any different than black women? The black mother who was in the car with her son and said, "I told you to vote this way." That make you any different than her? I'm saying. Right. Huh. So, all right. Right. So on that note, everyone, right. Um, Shout out to BGS. I think I've counseled Yanni enough. To be honest with you, Yanni ain't listening to nothing Z say or any of us say. She is making her good YouTube money off of her content, and her subscribers back her with views, and she's probably getting good AdSense money. And then she got her Patreon. Oh, she making guap, right? And it's hard. What's the Oscar Wilde quote? It's difficult to get a man to understand something, especially when his paycheck is dependent, or his is it not? It's not paycheck. Is it? It's something else. Somebody corrected me on this, and I still want to say paycheck for some reason. I might have to say paycheck because I don't remember the right way. But let's do it again. Um, it's difficult to get a man to understand something, especially when his paycheck is dependent on him not understanding it. Yanni is getting good viewership. She is borderline a YouTube celebrity. She has a couple 100,000 subscribers. She ain't budging. She's not budging. She has a number of black women that hang on her every word, young black girls, young black women that hang on her every word. They like her because she's an around the way black woman. It's livelihood. Thank you. Thank you, Naima. Thank you. So let's say it again. Um, it is difficult to get a man to understand something, especially when his livelihood is dependent on him not understanding it. Thank you, Naima. Right? So Yanni making that good money. She ain't moving, y'all. She ain't moving. Right? So, shout out to Edward Anderson. Shout out to BGS. BGS, I didn't counseled her. I don't know if it's gonna move. Shout out to Edward Anderson. Sign the paperwork, Z. Sign the MF and paperwork. Right. So, on that note, everyone, we will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I hope I did y'all justice. Right. I hope I did the right thing with this. Shout out to the replay gang. Replay gang. Yeah, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Thank you, buddy, for the replay squad. And y'all gives you 1 second. Well, I was making my clothes anyway, and Mr. Shukti. Oh, actually, it's not Mr. Shukti. Mr. G 1884 1804. Say it right, Z. I mean Haitian independence. Thank you very much. Mr. G 1804 says Trump is gonna bring winter down on them. Roll eyes. I don't know if Trump or JD Vance, although JD Vance is very interesting. Look into JD Vance. I've been Mr. Z been doing his research. I already knew about JD Vance before, but now that I'm really quote unquote air quotes deep diving, pause. I'm figuring out more and more about his political stance. Maybe. And yeah, very interesting character we have here. Very interesting character. I'll get into it. Or I'll review it a little bit more, hopefully on the other side of this trip to Texas. Lone Star State, Z's on his way. On that note, we will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. As FD Signifier has said to us, go touch grass, right? And we'll pause right there for now. And y'all have a great, great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out. And once again, shout out to BGS.